My name is Jones. I joined the Marine Corps for 2 years and have spent almost 4 decades in the Marine. Many of you guys here are combat guys. Most of you here have been wounded in combat. The whole idea of this thing is to help you transition, help you build a plan for the future. By Friday, unless you're dumber than a box of rocks, every one of you will be happy you're here. We're in a very, very unique period in our history of our country. Most Americans don't realize that. I was a Marine for a long time, and I experienced a lot of deployments in combat, but it was never the staggering level of deployments we have now. Because of that staggering level of deployments, it's been difficult to develop a course, a transition program, if you will, that will allow the right things to be done. It's not automatic, but it is something that we wanted to give them the tools to do just that, transition.
We're basically focused on helping these guys and girls figure out what it is they want to do moving forward. It's all about helping them find out more about themselves.
They have yet to understand who they are now. They've changed because of injuries, because of emotional difficulties, because of repeated deployments. What they need to do is figure out what kind of future do they envision for themselves and the people that are important to them.
All of us have been knocked down in different forms, different fashions, different capacities. But whatever we're doing, however much time that we have left, we can always give back. And we can always give it up and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep giving.
We work directly with the Wounded Warrior Battalions on the West Coast and the East Coast, as well as the Wounded Warrior Regiment. We're mainly looking for guys that want help transitioning forward to life after a military career. I spent about 7 months in Afghanistan before I was wounded on a routine combat operation, which resulted in losing my left leg below the knee. I know that there's no better way for somebody who's been wounded in a combat environment to move forward than talking to somebody who's been through similar circumstances and walked a mile in their shoes. And that's just the bottom line.
I'm an EOD tech, take care of roadside bombs. We got called out to take care of an IED. As soon as we drove up alongside the shot hole, that's when the insurgents cranked it off on us. Lifting our Cougar, which weighs roughly 20 tons, about 30 feet in the air, our front axles went over top the power lines, and we actually ended up bringing the power lines down with our vehicle. This is my service dog, Heike. I use her for PTSD and TBI. She keeps my anxiety down. So if I'm in a crowded place, just knowing the fact that she's there and I can sit down and concentrate on her for a little bit takes my concentration away from all the chaos that's going on around me. Being a wounded warrior, it's taken a toll on my family with the PTSD and the TBI. Kind of came up here with an open mind, but at the same time, very skeptical of everything.
When you talk about the pillar of what General Jones does, the fundamental first is that somebody cares. There are other Marines and other soldiers and sailors or whoever, other people in the military that care.
That's what makes this so different. It's the genuine care and concern that we offer up here.
The thing that happens with genuine concern is that we learn to put ourselves second to the other person. When we have genuine concern for the other person, we're not thinking about ourselves. And so that whole process of putting ourselves second to the needs of another person sets an attitude and a tone, and the other person feels that. And that's when that trust develops.
Until a person trusts you, they're not going to open up to you. But once they do sense from you that genuine concern that we have for them, then they're willing to open up. And only when they open up can we really address some issues that they're really dealing with.
By the end of the week, we have a whole group of Marines that have felt genuine concern. And that's what gives them the freedom and the willingness to go out and try new things and to engage and to use the tools that they presented here.
We still reach out to one another. And they know that support is there. They know they can count on us.
If you don't feel genuine concern up here, there's something wrong. We're being a lot of folks here come a lot of miles to be team leaders, to be presenters and whatnot. We're here to show you that Semper Fi doesn't mean Semper Fi, but Genuine concern is real. I can feel it.
If you care for somebody, they're going to respond to you. But I have them look me in the eye and say, you know, you've got somebody. Even if you get to the point in your life where you think you've got nobody, you've got somebody to call, and you promise me you'll call me. I'll be out there. When they get here, I think they're skeptical of that. A lot of us old guys, a lot of guys have never met before. But through the course of the week and the type of guys we get here as team leaders and the kind of guys that come in as presenters and whatnot, they kind of see, hey, this genuine concern, it's a real thing, you know. And once they start believing that, gosh, it's unlimited what they can accomplish.
I got wounded in Afghanistan. I was deployed with 3-7. We hit an IED with our vehicle, which caused concussion, caused a bruising on the brain. And I was medevac back and tried to stay with the company. Finally, they sent me over to Wounded Warriors. We got here and we found out that it's kind of team building, kind of like self-building, you know, like working on resumes, working on interviews, along with still trying to manage the stresses of like the PTSD and the TBI like symptoms and other injuries. All the team leaders, all the old vets, the non-vets, seem very motivated to help everyone. They know what they're doing. They've been through a lot too. It's nice to be able to have somebody to relate to and just have somebody that knows what you're going through, and they don't need to have that verbal communication of like, you know, like, hey, I'm struggling. They already just kind of like can see, you know, that you are.
There's not a lot of people that they may know or have in their own network support system that they can reach out to just to talk about some of the things they're going through and to get some feedback on certain situations and different aspects and perspectives.
I have never, ever let post-traumatic stress govern me. I refuse to do it. But is it there? Sure. You know, like the general said, you've got it, you'll always have it. You learn how to deal with it. And for me, dealing with it was to really open up and communicate about it.
We don't get over some things. We get through them. There are things that happen in life that it's just not meant to be, that you get over them. We're not made that way as humans.
What we do here is we like to give each individual time and attention and genuine concern through the team leader. The 1-to-3 ratio of team leader to participant is the one thing that most programs do not have.
The basic unit of organization in the Marine Corps is a fire team. 3, 4, 5 people. Small team. And actually, when you think about it, the basic unit of business in a project team is 3, 4, 5 people. That focus on the team we replicate here by having a team leader, such as myself and many others, with a team of 3 to 4 participants. So in their situations now, with all the emotional and mental challenges, pain management issues, figuring out who they are and what they want to do with the rest of their lives, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of that sand is shifting. So they're going to run into a lot of troubles and challenges and questions about themselves. They need pre-identified, who are they going to call when they run into those problems, so they don't get into that negative spiral of too much alone thinking.
The Marine Corps is highly a team organization. You know, life is a team event. The team structure for the camp allowed us to do things that were very impactful for those young men. What evolved to be the most powerful thing about the Semper Fi Odyssey was the team leader.
Several folks have asked me today, what's the secret about being a team leader? I'd say agape love. I think it's the most important thing. I wish I had known that when I was a young guy. I thought when I was a young guy, you got to be tougher than woodpecker lips, and everything about you had to be tough. And really, the key is, hey, caring for another guy. They really respond to that.
Having the team leaders show genuine care and concern really shows each individual that there's people out there that care, and that each individual has somebody that they can reach out to once leaving Semper Fi Odyssey to follow up in some sort of mentor aspect and help move on to whatever plan they choose in life.
It came down to just provide an environment where they know somebody cares and help them with some life skills and how to problem solve and realize that they're not in it alone. Team leaders come in to show them, hey, these are the lessons that I learned. These are the mistakes that I made along the way.
The cheapest lessons you'll ever learn are those from someone else's mistakes. So why not relay my mistakes and my successes, and hopefully they can pick up some lessons from those. When
Dan invited me to be one of the team leaders, being an NCO at the time I was wounded, he felt like that would give me some credibility. Being one of one of the Marines that had walked in their shoes, so to speak, they felt very open to and accepting of me.
You know, the Marine Corps is such an extraordinary organization. It's really like no other of our services. We're a very small fighting force, and the term Semper Fidelis really means something to all of us. Always faithful means something to us. So when we have an opportunity, we're older people, obviously. When we have an opportunity to step in and help younger Marines, it's really a great privilege to us. We take it very seriously because we know that we can really help them in a lot of different ways.
I like working in small little team units. That actually helped me out more because, like with my TBI and stuff like that from the incident, like I'm trying to listen to over here, I'm trying to listen to over here, plus trying to focus on information. Kind of gets a little hectic for me at least. But when we do like the little team leader time and come down and like have our own little group and go down like away from everybody where it's pitch black quiet kind of a thing, like it definitely I can focus. It's a good option. It's a good tool to help people in their transition.
The whole idea of a certain amount of academics to provide the tools, a certain amount of practical with the team leader to actually test the tools and examine the tools and really get a chance to play mental bumper cars with each other. And then the dynamic of being able to going into the big building and doing high ropes or going out on a zip line or doing a reaction course, all those things, then further establish that bond.
The trainers that we use here, they're fantastic. They do whatever they can to tailor each individual's needs.
What we do is we provide a suspension training system, rehabilitative, functional fitness piece of equipment to our wounded warriors. So you can take exercises, which would be, say, for example, a front to back type of position. We could do an exercise that could be from side to side, or we could do exercises that can come from, a rotational movement pattern, which a lot of times mimics activities of daily living. After we did the PT sessions, and at the end of the week, General Jones does interviews with all the attendees, and they go through how the week went. And one of the comments that comes up is, how'd you feel in the PT and the fitness section? And one of the Marines commented on the fact that after the week long of PT, 3-4 days that we were able to do that he started to feel like a Marine again.
We do yoga classes twice a day, and then we also do an iRest yoga nidra practice. The amazing thing about yoga is that it gives the guys a chance to be strong, yet also find that softness and that relaxation that yoga practitioners have been doing for thousands of years. They get a chance to really connect to their breath, which slows them down, gives them a chance to be calm and connected to their body in a very peaceful, comforting, and ease-filled way. And that's when we're able to really dig in and start to keep the body calm, yet start to deal with some of the emotions and the cognitions and the memory images that might be troubling.
I like the yoga and like intercoursing the like just the evening events, like like the rock walls and the zip lines.
Oh man! All right, we'll hold on to it right here. 3, 2, 1, go for it!
There's something that really bothers me. It's wounded warrior. I personally do not like that term. You know why? Because it's not about the wound. It's about the warrior. Sometimes when you take chances, you feel uncomfortable and you come out of your element and you're not inside your little bubble anymore. And you get eager and maybe some anxiety comes up and you really don't feel comfortable and you have a lot of doubt in your forefront. You don't quite know exactly what's going to happen, but you know that
You're stepping into a new place where you're trying to make something happen, guys, and you're going to have to take chances if you want to move forward. Well, the number one thing these guys will have after going through a week of Semper Fi Odyssey is a network. They'll always have somebody to pick up the phone and talk to about anything.
What really hit home for me was the networking capability, because before I came here, I was the type of guy who, if I didn't know you, I wasn't going to talk to you. I see how it's a useful tool in the civilian world today, because if you don't know people, you're not going to go anywhere. 30-second conversation in an elevator can potentially lead you to a job.
You never know where it's going to happen. Realize you are always on. Always on. Every person you meet, everyone that you see could be part of your future network, a future employer, a customer. It's always on. Think about that.
They can build a plan with those intangibles they've gained in the Marine Corps. It will help them a lot. Through a good plan, they can go into college and be successful. They can go into whatever pursuit they want to and be successful.
Everything we do in life starts with a goal. And it makes no difference what your IQ is or what your SAT score is, what your GPA is. It has nothing to do with mental. It starts with a goal. You've got to have a passion. You've got to do something you really feel great about. You've got to work your butt off and have a definitive plan for that passion. And you've got to work hard to be a good man.
The biggest thing that I see from day 1 to day 5 is the ability to talk about themselves, and that's huge. I mean, we can write resumes and talk about interview skills all day long, but having the ability to just talk about your experiences, especially experiences in a combat environment, with confidence is invaluable.
The first night we talk about the 3 biggest fears. When they get up in the middle of the night and they get back in bed and stare at the ceiling waiting for sleep to come, what are those negative thoughts that fill their mind? And then by the end of the week, to see them walk out of a mock interview and say, I did great. They told me I'd be hired. Think about the change in 4.5 days from a mind dominated by their biggest fears to I'd get hired. That's what this week is all about. That's the kind of change. That's why it's the most gratifying thing I do.
This is where the war on terror started, right here. When our fellow citizens stood up to the terrorists and they said, you're not going to do that to my country. And they brought the plane down. It would have destroyed 1/3 of our federal government. Just imagine that. Except for the fact that the people on the plane, common people, just like us here, they said, you're not going to do that to my country, and they rose up. They weren't military, they weren't government, they were just common folk. And that, I keep saying, that's what patriotism's about. These people did something. You guys did something. It's more than talk. It's laying your life on the line. And that's what these people did, that's what you did, and that's what all patriotic citizens would do.
We talked this week about a lot of things, and we talked a lot about stress. We talked about combat stress. We talked about a lot of other types of stress, didn't we? In regards of anything else, almost all of you here joined the Marine Corps because of 9/11. And so I think that when you're wrestling those things, that it's going to take you a while to work through, and like the guys here, they're really expert. They lived their lives many years now after Vietnam. You're never going to lose those thoughts. You're never going to lose those thoughts, nor should you. Let them make it stronger. But at least you can look here, and you look here what happened to our country, or somebody attacking our country. This is real stuff that you made the decision for the right reason. I'm still in awe of you guys. We got Americans like you guys that were willing to go forward. And really it gets me, I'm talking to you all. I'm talking to every one of you now, haven't I? I've ever interviewed every one of these suckers, and every one of you, the thing that bothers you more than anything else is some of you can't go do it again. But you don't worry about that. You've already done your deed. Look out there and make peace with your God, and thank God. Just thank God that you made the decision to go to the Marine Corps. Even though some of you here are missing a leg, Even though some of you here still have demons, you know, I think you made the right choice, and I think one of these days you're going to realize you made the right choice. I think it's very important, though, for those Americans that want to support folks in the fight to understand that the fight for some of these guys is clearly not over.
When you look at the total population today and realize that only 1% of our American citizenry are either veterans or in the military. 1%. So 99% of us are enjoying the freedoms, but only 1% are paying the price. We owe them. We owe them big time.
Look at what they've already proven. Why would we not want to get them to the point where they can fulfill those positions of responsibility? Isn't that what this country needs?
I define success of this program when I look in each participant's eyes and they say thank you. Because there's not a lot of people out there that give them the genuine care and concern that we give them all week long.
I define success in giving a guy the tools and giving him an experience and exposing him to people who really care. And I feel good now on Saturday morning. I feel good that we provided him that. If you do the right thing, if you believe in things, you're willing to fight for things, even if you lose a particular battle, you're probably going to win your own personal war down the road, and you're going to have your own self-satisfaction. When it all comes down to it, all we can ever have in life is our own self-satisfaction. Have I done a lot of things wrong, and all of us here have done a lot of things wrong? We certainly have. But we got to fight for the right things, and we got to believe in what we fight.